I actually want to hate Maresca. I don't want to criticize him in this video. But first, he has to admit that his tactics are not working. Let's just start with defense. I know you have been using this three at the back, left back inverting for so long, and last year it made certain positive differences. But there's a huge difference between last year and this year. Last year we had Thiago Silva, who was so much experienced. And you could see, despite certain games where he was not as quick as some of the strikers, you could see that he had so much situational awareness that he could defend in certain balls where you thought they were going in, like goal line clearances, just defending without really defending. But this year, we don't have such a character, and that has been a problem because you could see there's a lot of spaces between the defenders. And somehow, whenever we are being attacked, it's always look like it is three against many. Like the left back has always to be running back to defend. And when if you have ever been in a defense, I know these guys they always talk that trainers or coaches have a lot of experiences, but the basic thing about defending is that you have to always be aware of your space. You have to always be in control of your space, and whenever you are running back, you have none of those. You can never be in control of your space if you are running back, and that has always been our case for most of the goals that we conceded. It has always been you have defenders running back, like the strikers is always in front. Now, there's nobody to either direct the striker to his wrong foot or the corner or a bad place. It's always looks like we are always defending from a disadvantaged position. And this is because there's a lot, even in the last game, you could see the ball they scored, it was always like all these guys, because there's a lot of spaces around them, they have to defend zonally. Like there's not man marking at the defense, like nobody's putting pressure on the striker. And now you find a situation where a Chaloba is there, Tosin is there, or even in the previous game, like Colwill is there, but the striker is alone. Like there's nobody who thinks like this person is my responsibility. Like Colwill does not think the person is his responsibility. Chaloba the same, and Tosin the same. And now you find situations where the striker always has a ball facing the goal. Now to reduce that, we have to reduce the gap between the defenders, and that can always only happen if we have four at the back, because we don't have a person with similar experience to Thiago Silva. Now, this thing of three at the back, somebody inverting or somebody going forward needs to be ended. Like it doesn't help. There's no team that is winning that with that formation. It's ended. Like Guardiola is suffering. We are also suffering. You go to Madrid, they have four at the back, only attacking we have the whenever they have the ball, like when it's appropriate. Liverpool, same. You go to Bundesliga, you see all Bayer Leverkusen, you see, or even Bayern tried all that three at the back, it did not work. Now they have four at the back. Like every other team, you go to PSG, the same. Every team leading the league in the top five leagues, four at the back. Now, that's just about the defense. We go to midfield. Too many luxury players at the midfield. We need to take Palmer off the midfield. I know this thing may not be popular, but we need to take Palmer off the midfield. If we have Caicedo is one of the best. If you see him, if you just track him whenever he plays, you could see that he's always so good at the ball, trying to get spaces, but sometimes he's just overwhelmed because you always find him fighting against three people. Always. Even last time he was being fouled But you could see even the time he was losing the ball, it was three people around him. And that can only happen if he's the only person in midfield, like there's nobody helping him in midfield. Now, this has to stop. We have to kill that attacking midfield. Just bring three at the back, no, three in midfield. Just bring people who can play, who can rotate at midfield. Like we need to beef up our midfield. If we need to have Caicedo and Enzo, we need another guy. If Hall can play the similar role that Gallagher played, then it's okay. If we don't, we signed another midfielder. I don't know if he's physical enough to play at that role, but we need to take Palmer off the midfield. We need to ensure that if we have Caicedo, we should also have another two. If Enzo is there, we should find another one. If Lave is not okay, we should find another person to play the donkey. If it's not the donkey, then Caicedo should play the donkey, and we need somebody to control that midfield. That's the only way we can control some of the games that we have been losing control whenever we score. Whenever we score, we can't control the match. And if we can't control the match, then you expect the opposing team to always score. Now, if we are taking Palmer off the midfield, we should take him to wing the way Pochettino played last season. Like, our wingers are not helping us. Our wingers are not helping us. They are not creating a lot. They are not making the chances. They are so far from the game. Like you see Sancho. Sancho is just like, you see, like, you find a talented player, but he's playing a role where you think you can put anybody. You can take any under 18, under 16 to just stand there, be passed the ball, and they pass back. Like, there's no, like, these players, the way they are playing at the midfield, whether, probably I will blame it on Maresca, but if it's not Maresca, they are not showing any value. They are not showing why somebody should spend on them and not on any other midfielder. Like, you could just put anybody. You don't even have to find another winger, a world-class winger, or even a winger from Premier League. You could just put there anybody who can pass the ball, and they will play similar to Sancho, to Noni, and even sometimes to Neto. If you have to change, because they're not making that change, they're not bringing that results, the goals, the assist, take Palmer to wing the same way he did last year. Take Palmer to wing. Let all these other wingers try to fight for that one position. Then you could, create some form of competition. And these guys now, probably one of them will improve intensity if they want to remain in the team. That's the only way to help our team. Now, with striking, we don't have a striker, and we don't have any replacement, and any team needs a striker, so we have to put up with Jackson until the end of the season. That's right. Now, if Maresca changes and does what I'm saying, like, do what, I don't know, and is it does or does, like, he implements what I'm suggesting. He has four at the back. He have a very robust core midfield. Then we don't have to score 3 goals. We don't have to score 4 goals. We can score 1 goal and control the match. We can win that 1-0, which he has been always trying to win. Like, we score first and then it's game over. We don't have, every other opposing team doesn't have to come to play versus Chelsea and think that even if Chelsea scores 2, they can still equalize. That can only happen if we have control. And the control that we are suggesting can only come if we control both the midfield and we ensure our defense are not put in a position where they are struggling, like they are not pressured. The only way they are not pressured is if they are not expected to attack and defend at the same time. If we don't put Kukurele in a position where he has to go there and attack and at the same time defend, then you will see like he would be defending very well, because a lot of the goals we have conceded were crosses from that side. As much as he's helping with scoring, with assisting, with putting a lot of pressure, we are leaving spaces for the strikers or the wingers from the opposing team to pinpoint the crosses. Like there's no pressure in them. Like, why are we being pressured? Why is Neto being pressured? Like the previous game, why was Neto being pressured every time he tried to score? Like there's no any crosses that went where he wanted. It was because of pressure. And then us, we just leave people to pinpoint crosses. Like there's a lot of crosses that were so good, and it was because we didn't have the fullbacks putting the expected pressure on the wingers for the opposing teams. And that's why we let them like pinpoint the crosses, which one of them led to the goal that equalized. And then the other goal was just some kind of confusion, which you expect. But then again, those are the goals that you expect the keeper to come forward and save. But then we also don't have a keeper. Like there's a lot of troubles in this team, but we can prevent some of the troubles if Maresca just implements a team that is able to control the game. Anyway, subscribe.